What's up, Dream Warriors? Welcome back to another episode of a podcast on Elm Street. I'm Marc.
And Brooke.
And this week we're coming at you guys with part 2 of our 10th face-off, Brooke's favorite horror movie.
Yeah.
It's been a long time coming.
Yes, it has.
But we
so
are
excited for it.
Finally talking about American Psycho from 2000.
Yep.
How stoked are you to talk about this movie?
Dude, I'm so stoked. I watched it last night and then just watching it, I was like, man, I'm so excited to talk about this movie.
Yeah, I am too. I think it's going to be a fun discussion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When was I guess maybe we can talk about this once we kind of get into the episode. Get your feelings around the movie and like what sparked your love for it and stuff like that.
Sure.
But we'll talk about it after.
Yeah.
But before we dive into this incredible movie, what have you been watching this week?
So this week, we actually just have a new kind of thing we're doing. So we are going to share my letterboxd with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see what I watched and rated.
There we go.
All right. So I think I mentioned The Incredibles last time, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. We finished The Girl from Plainville. Didn't like it. I thought it was bad. The writing and the like just the way they decided to do it just was terrible. Like the acting was good, but yeah. Watched Nope in theaters. I liked it. I thought it was good. It's definitely not what I was expecting, more of like a spectacle. And from the interviews I've heard from Jordan Peele, that's what he was going for. And like it is like definitely watched in the theater. It's good. It's pretty long. It almost feels like two movies, and like the other part of it I didn't really understand. So maybe on a second watch might understand it more.
How long is it?
It's like I think it was like 2.5 hours, I think.
Oh shit.
Or 2:15, something like that.
Okay.
But yeah. Randomly watched West Side Story. I don't know, it's on Crave and I saw that and I was like, I've never watched the original. It's a Steven Spielberg movie. I know I've heard like pretty good things about it. So I threw it on. It's very long. It's like 2.5 hours as well. I liked it. It was good. It wasn't my favorite musical. But I like the love story between the two, kind of very Romeo and Juliet.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. I watched The Gray Man, came out on the weekend. Ryan Gosling and Chris Evans. I thought it was okay. It is getting shit on pretty hard. It's just like an action movie that like every other action movie has done. Like there's nothing new about it.
Okay.
So, and they actually just announced that they're doing a sequel and a spin-off series. So I guess the Russo brothers are turning this into a franchise. So
I saw that Netflix is picking it up.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Yeah. Then I went to the movies and watched Top Gun Maverick. It was amazing. It's my favorite movie of the year so far.
Nice.
Honestly, like I'm so glad I went to the theaters to watch it because like you feel like you're in the cockpit with them. And like reading the trivia, like all of the actors did their own makeup, lighting, everything in the cockpit. And Tom Cruise even did a like an hour-long course on that. And like there was very little CGI. There's a scene where like Tom Cruise is going like Mach 9. Like it's insane. It's just crazy.
And he's actually in the fucking
him and all the actors, they're all doing this shit.
That's fucking nuts.
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Then I watched This Is Gore. It's a documentary on Shudder. I did add it to my 22 list because it has that. So I don't know. But so was the Black Phone. So but anyway, I liked it. It was pretty good. It's kind of cool to see like everything behind the band and everything that they went through. I like Gore. Don't listen to them like a lot. Like I would love to go see them play.
Yeah.
They are coming to Toronto in like November, but it's like a Tuesday, so it's like
Uh,
yeah,
you got to book a couple days off for that.
exactly, yeah. It was pretty good. It was about an hour and a half, so probably worth checking out.
What?
But
Isn't it like 2.5?
the documentary,
Yeah.
I don't think it was that long.
Oh, I
Maybe
could,
2 hours.
I'm halfway through it and I could have swore it said like 152 minutes.
Oh, I don't think it was that long.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I watched the Dark Knight trilogy. So I just bought the 4K
Oh
release
yeah.
of the whole trilogy. So
I forgot you bought that.
the Dark Knight I've watched many a times over the years, but like the other ones, Batman Begins and Dark Knight Rises, I only watched maybe 2 or 3 times each. Batman Begins I really like. Dark Knight Rises not so much. I have a review on it, but I'll save those thoughts for something coming later.
Yeah.
I watched. If you haven't noticed, I watched a lot of movies this week. So
I fucking see that.
yeah. I watched a new Shudder movie called The Long Night. It has one of Josh's favorite actresses, Scout Taylor Compton.
Yep.
I think that's how you say her name. It was. I did not like it. As you can see, a half star. I thought the acting was god awful. The story made no sense. It was boring as hell. It was just not good.
So I should run and watch it as fast as I can.
Definitely, definitely. And lastly, I watched a movie called Mosquito. It's on Netflix or on Shudder. I really liked it. It was a fun 90s movie. It has Gunnar Hansen in it.
Oh, nice.
And there is a chainsaw scene in it, kind of like a throwback.
Yeah.
The practical effects were good. Like there's some like weird CGI in it, but
Yeah.
for the most part, it is a fun movie, man. I had a good time with it. So
Nice.
yeah, that's all I watched this week. So yeah.
That's all I watched this week.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
it's not a lot.
What about you?
You were very busy. Let me pull mine up here. All right, I need to go to my diary. So,
and for anyone wondering, also sort of cut you off. This is our Letterbox account, so
yeah,
give us a follow if you're not on Letterbox already. It's an amazing platform.
Yes, agreed, absolutely. As you can see, I watched a lot less than you did.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I talked about Cars last episode, but
we talked about it, I think, in the group chat, I think.
Right. I knew that there was a conversation somewhere.
Yeah.
We were talking with Dennis about it actually.
Oh yeah.
So I watched that as part of my Pixar rewatch and ranking.
Mm-hmm.
Finally made my list on Letterboxd for that. I don't want to say it's my least favorite, but it's definitely down there. It's not one of my favorites in the Pixar movies.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's kind of like middle of the pack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm still plowing through the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies. So I finally watched it. Letterboxd has it called The Return of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but it's actually the Next Generation, I think is what it's called.
Okay. Is it like the fifth, fourth or fifth?
The fourth one.
Okay.
But it's the one with Matthew McConaughey and Renee Zellweger.
Oh wow, I didn't even know they were in a Texas movie.
Yeah. Whenever I listened to McConaughey's audiobook, he mentioned getting the role for this one. It was kind of a cool story, but the movie is not that great. I mean, I had a fun enough time with it, but
yeah,
it's definitely not going to be at the top of my list for that franchise. I finally watched The Black Phone.
Nice.
Finished it like 5 minutes before we started recording.
Oh, that's a movie you were watching. I thought it was The Incredibles.
No,
I didn't see the black. Okay, that's
awesome. Fucking love this movie, man.
Yeah.
It's not my favorite of the year, but it's top 3 right now, I think.
Yeah.
Such a good movie. Ethan Hawke did, like, everybody talks about how good of a job Ethan Hawke did, and yeah, I can mirror those thoughts for sure. uh he's like, underneath that mask, like the way his voice changes and stuff, it's fucking
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. And like the mask changes as well. Like there's different
Yeah,
parts that come off and stuff. Yeah.
and like he can change the bottom part for like whatever mood he's in. So if he's pissed off, it's got like a scowling look, and
Yeah.
if he's like in his happy psychotic mood, then he's got the big smile on. But yeah, it was really good. The little girl in it reminded me of the girl from Psycho Gorman too.
Dude, that's all I could picture when I was watching it. I was
Yeah,
like, man, I wish they cast that girl, but this girl did such a good job.
she
Like,
was
I can't
really
even be
good.
mad. Yeah.
Yeah, like there was a scene when she's talking to her dad, and her dad's talking about like the way that her mom was,
Yeah.
and like the emotion that was on her face. I was like, this little girl is such a good actress.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I thought too.
Yeah. And when she was praying to Jesus and she's like, what the fuck, Jesus? What the actual fuck?
Yeah. 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 I laughed so hard at that scene. Yeah.
Yeah, great movie. If you haven't watched it, definitely check it out.
Yeah.
And lastly, I watched The Incredibles. I watched that last night. That's obviously as part of the Pixar rewatch.
Yeah.
I love this movie, man.
Yeah. It's good.
It's so well done.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna, well, I know it's not gonna be at the top of my list, but it's up there.
Pretty close. Yeah.
Great Pixar movie.
Yeah.
And that's it.
That's it. Nice.
So yeah, I wasn't overly busy on the watching this week. Started playing Stray.
Nice.
The new game that just came out.
Yeah. Everyone's playing that game, it seems.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a
Yeah.
fun little platformer game. He plays a cat in a post-apocalyptic world, a bunch of robots roaming around and stuff. But yeah, it's fun. All right, man. I think it's time.
Definitely time.
You're getting antsy.
Yeah.
All right. Let's cue the theme music and dive in. All right, like we said in the intro, this week we are talking about American Psycho from the year 2000. This is part 2 of our 10th Villain Faceoff. At the end of this episode, we're going to see who comes up victorious between Patrick Bateman and Henry Lee Lucas from Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer. Before we hop into the movie, what are you drinking?
So I'm drinking a beer that is very fitting for the podcast.
Okay.
In general. It's a Collective Arts audio visual lager.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Getting the best of both worlds.
Yep. That's good. What you drinking?
I'm drinking a mango Mai Tai Bud Light seltzer.
Ooh, I don't think I've had that one.
I bought these because they were right at the front of the liquor store, and I got them before ball one night, and I was in a rush, and they're not that great. I'm not a huge fan of them.
Oh, really?
I don't know. They're too sweet.
Yeah.
But this one's okay.
The other Bud Light ones I got were pretty good, but I don't think I've tried that pack.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like their summer variety pack or something like that. But not terrible, just not as good as the other stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Starting off with the synopsis. A wealthy New York City investment banking executive, Patrick Bateman, hides his alternate psychopathic ego from his coworkers and friends as he delves deeper into his violent, hedonistic fantasies.
Or does he?
Or does he? I don't know. Synopsis wraps up the movie pretty well, if not giving too much away. This movie was directed by Mary Herron, who has also directed The Expecting, Charlie Says, Alias Grace or Alias Grace, and The Moth Diaries. I was a little surprised to, like, I've known that she's directed it for a while now, but like I remember being surprised whenever I first found out that a woman directed this movie.
Yeah. I think
Just
everyone has that initial like
yeah.
oh shit, just because like the nature of this movie, especially the book too,
Hmm.
um, the very violent towards women.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely surprising.
And I think in a sense, like it's kind of a good thing that a female directed it, because we're getting the female perspective on like chauvinistic and egotistical male personas.
Mhm.
um so I mean, it's definitely not a bad thing that there's a female director. It's just a little surprising, that's all.
Yeah.
um Before we go any further, though, I had plans on reading the book and finishing it before we got to the movie
Yeah.
discussion. That didn't work out.
Yeah.
I'm only like 30 pages into it.
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
our weekend was way too busy and I just had zero time to read it.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna, like, I've started it, so I'm definitely gonna finish it. And maybe I can touch back once we or once I finish it,
Yeah. For sure.
because I do really want to see the differences. You've talked about the book before, and I'm
Yeah.
sure you'll talk about it during this episode. So I
Yeah, a
don't want
little
to.
bit. Yeah. I don't want to say too much with the book because you haven't read it yet, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I know it's significantly more violent, I guess, in the movie.
And detailed. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right, the cast list. Starting off with Christian Bale, who plays Patrick Bateman. He's obviously known for the Dark Knight trilogy. He plays Batman. He is in The Machinist, Ring of Fire, The Fighter, and Thor: Love and Thunder.
It's kind of crazy that like this movie kind of skyrocketed him into stardom.
Yeah.
Like from all the trivia I've read on this like movie, everybody told him not to take this movie.
Mhm.
And he did because he wanted to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah.
They told him that this movie would put his career in the toilet. Don't do it.
Mhm.
Uh, Ewan McGregor actually almost got the part,
Yeah.
but he called Ewan and said, "Don't take it."
Yeah.
I want it.
Yeah.
I want it.
I love that so much, because like Ewan McGregor in this role is not good. I can't picture him in this role.
Yeah, but could you have pictured Christian Bale?
Yeah, I mean, because Christian Bale, like, he has like those strong, sharp features. He gets super dedicated in his roles. Like, look at his weight fluctuation between all of his movie roles.
Yeah.
And like, you know that he's gonna fucking give it his all.
But I mean, like, just going into this movie, like, let's see what he was in.
Not much.
No, not at all.
I think this was his first leading role.
I think so. Like, yeah, he did Thomas's voice on Pocahontas. He was on in Little Women, I'm guessing as like not a, big character.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of random movies. Like he was also in Shaft, which came out the same year as this, which I had no idea he was in.
Me either.
But yeah, going up to this, like he wasn't really Empire of the Sun. I mean, that's a pretty big movie, but I don't think he
Mhm.
probably had a big part of it. But yeah, like this, no one knew who he was. So I guess, yeah.
Yeah, he gave it his all for sure.
Mhm.
And I guess so he showed up to his audition and everything, and he was a method actor.
Yeah.
So he not necessarily stayed in character throughout the filming of the movie, but he kept his American accent because he's British, right?
Mhm.
So he kept his American accent throughout the whole filming. And then I guess during one of like the after parties, he was talking in his British accent, and people thought that that was a fake accent.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really funny.
Yeah. And like I don't want to give too much, well, there's on my rating of it, but like I'll say too much about it. But the fact that he like didn't get any big nomination, like no Golden Globe, but no Oscar. What's the other small one there? the I forget what it's called, but
Mhm.
anyway, he didn't really get any nominations from like the big awards, which
Mhm.
is I don't know, crazy to me.
Do you think it's because he wasn't a big name actor?
Yeah, I think just the genre of movie too.
Well, yeah, horror movies don't get any love.
No.
All right. Anyways, next up is Justin Theroux, who played Timothy Bryce, who is in Mulholland Drive, Your Highness, The Girl on the Train, and False Positive.
Yeah, he was also the lead in what was that HBO show? When all the people disappear in like the
Oh,
town. I watched like the first season of that show.
yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
The
Anyway,
Vanishing.
no, I don't think
I
so.
don't remember. I know I saw it on the
Anyway,
list though.
yeah.
But his last name is Price in the book though, right? Is that
I forget. It's been a couple
yeah?
years since I read it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think they changed his name a little bit.
Yeah.
Next up is Josh Lucas, who played Craig McDermott. He's in Ford versus Ferrari, Sweet Home Alabama, Glory Road, Yellowstone, and The Forever Purge.
He was just in session 9, right? That we watched.
Josh Lucas, was he? Oh yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we'd say, yeah.
yeah, I think he was.
Yeah. He looks so different in this compared to that.
Yeah,
Like, it's crazy.
he was buddy with like the beard and the long hair, right?
In session 9?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
was he? Yeah, that was him.
Yeah.
Hmm. I feel like it's ringing a bell, but I don't remember. That was like 2 weeks ago, Brooke.
I know, man.
And lastly, I have Willem Dafoe, who plays Donald Kimball. He is known for Antichrist. Fuck that movie. The Lighthouse, Spider-Man, The Florida Project, The Northman, and The Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
I have 3 honorable mentions. I don't know if you have any, but
yeah, that sounds about right.
yeah. I have Chloe Sevigny. I know I'm not Savini. It's like I know I'm not pronouncing that right. Reese Witherspoon and Jared Leto. How did Reese eat her cereal?
Don't even say it.
Witherspoon. Come on. Give me a stage and a mic. I'll make you laugh all night. All right. Do you have any others?
I don't think so. The guy that played, what's his name? I'm looking at my old notes from another episode I did. Oh, Lewis.
Yes.
He was like kind of looked familiar too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had a familiar face.
Yeah.
All right. I know you're chomping at the bit. Let's talk about this movie.
Let's talk about this movie. When was the first time you watched this movie, and like what were your thoughts on it? Because I feel like this is a movie where like the first watch and the second watch for people change so much.
Mm-hmm. I honestly have zero recollection of my first time watching this movie.
Yeah.
I think it was just one of those movies that like I watched it and I was just like, yeah, okay, I've watched it.
Yeah.
I didn't really appreciate it for what it was and how I feel about it now.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I had like zero recollection of the first time watching this movie. I don't know where I was. I don't know how old I was. I don't know how I watched it.
Yeah.
I just have no idea.
Yeah.
I've watched it plenty of times since then. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. What about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Like I honestly don't remember the first time I watched it, where I watched it. I don't know, I just feel like as I got older, I just grew and grew more to love it. And like the thing about this movie, people never really considered it a horror movie. And I still feel like people don't.
Yeah.
And I do think it's more of a dark comedy more than horror, because this movie is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it is funny.
Like there's so many lines and stuff that I could just quote all day. Like it's so funny. And yeah, just like Christian Bale's performance is what like this is why I love this movie so much, because of his performance. And like every time you watch it, you think of something new, notice something new, and you don't know like what is real and what isn't in this movie.
See, and you mentioned Christian Bale's performance in this, and like going back to our talk about Ewan McGregor, like, do you really think that he could do this role?
It definitely wouldn't have been the same movie.
No, because you need to have a guy who is like rich as fuck and like just dying to fit in within this socialite crowd.
Yeah.
And like he even says it in the movie. She's like, I can't remember what her name is, but she's like, why are you doing this? He's like, because I need to fit in. And just the way he says it.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And like Christian Bale just does that so well. And like he needs to flip that switch from being that like rich socialite investment banker to this fucking psycho that will kill anybody any way that he can.
Yeah.
Like even in the bar at the beginning, like the bartender says something to him and she turns around and he's like, you're a fucking bitch and I'm gonna gut you like a pig or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, like where did that come from?
Yeah. We're good. And like the thing with this movie, like everybody looks the same and acts the same, but he still feels like he doesn't fit in with society, which I don't know, is like a pretty strong and like fucked up message to portray like in this movie. Like, because he's all about the brands, the restaurant, which we'll talk about a bit later, but like when he goes to a restaurant, like he's narrating, he's like, I almost burst out into tears because I didn't think we'd have a good seat. And it's like, dude, what the fuck?
Like, who cares what seat you have, man? You're in this fucking restaurant. Like you're in Dorsia. No, it wasn't Dorsia that they're in. They're in that other restaurant. But still, it's like one of the richest restaurants in the city.
Yeah.
Like, and it just goes to show, and it's like a satirical look at it, at this like Wall Street life, but it just goes to show like what actually goes on in those crowds, right? Like we've seen clips and videos and shit like from the Real Housewives and all that stuff, and it's like this movie perfectly encapsulates that sort of feel while also making fun of it.
Yeah exactly. And like if you once you read the book, like it's kind of like, how did they turn that into a movie? Because like you've mentioned it a bit so far, but the book is like so detailed. Like there'll just be pages of him just describing what he's wearing, like what the tie, what brand it is, what color it is, what like fabric it is.
There was literally 2 pages of him going through his morning routine. And I was like, I can't read this anymore. Like I flipped to the next page. I was like, I don't care what moisturizer you're putting on your face. Like I understand why the book does that, because these people, they care so much about what they do with materialistic things that they have to like spew it all out. And that's what the book is showing. But like I've said to you a couple times now, like I hate the dialogue in that book because it's just so like fucking, I can't stand those people.
Like give too much away, but there's a few points too, like in the movie, whenever the girls are like having sex with each other and he is just talking about Phil Collins. Well, in the book, there's like 4 or 5 pages of him just talking about Phil Collins and like the band and like the album and like Whitney Houston. There's it's crazy that they took the book to this so well. And like the narration in the movie, it's not annoying.
No.
And it's just like Christian Bale's voice is so soothing, and he talks so slow, and like I like the narration in this movie.
I agree.
Yeah. What do you think of the opening credits?
It's like the blood dripping and shit like that.
Yeah, like the whole opening to this movie.
I mean, yeah, I like it. I think it was an interesting way to open it up.
Yeah, because it has like the we think is blood like on the
Mm-hmm.
white, and then it goes to like this fancy restaurant. And,
Yeah.
like the waiters are like, "Oh, this is squid ravioli with all this," and like they're in like a fancy spot, and then they come to the table with all the main group of guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, $550, that's nothing. They throw all their
Yeah.
fucking platinum steel credit cards
Yeah.
into the bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the bar scene when they go to the club. Actually, I want to read a bit from that opening little group that they have. Like some of the lines they said in that like just killed me. I wonder if I can find it real quick here. Um, yeah, I should have wrote it down. But anyway, they're like going back and forth. Like they really say some pretty bad stuff about Jews and stuff like that. But I love like that's the line that I think Bryce says. They're like all talking, and then he's just like, "That bathroom is terrible to do coke in," or like
Yeah.
something like that. And then like they go to the nightclub to like just dance and do coke, and then
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying, whenever Patrick goes up to the bar and he hands her, I guess it's like I don't know what their
They're
tickets
like drink
for
tickets. Yeah.
drink tickets, and she's like, "Oh, honey, we don't take these anymore. Like it's cash only." And then he's like, "Okay, I'll take whatever vodka on the rocks or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
And she turns around and he has like a mirror and he says like, "I will cut your fucking head off and bathe in your blood," or
That's what he
something like
says.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think he actually said that.
Out loud.
Yeah.
You think it's all in his head?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you see him looking at himself often in a mirror, and it's yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like I think that mirror, like when the camera switches to like the girl's back
Mm-hmm.
and you see his face in the mirror there, like I think like multiple times in this movie, I think like that's one of the scenes where like he didn't actually say that. He
Mm-hmm.
just he wants to.
And it's just his thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Mm-hmm. And I really like the opening too. I think this is yeah, when he's getting ready and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like this scene gives me chills every time I watch it. Just like the
Okay.
music that's happening and like he's like talking. And I want to read like the opening monologue that he says.
It's him and his tidy whities that give you the chills, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. But I guess like when he's doing the shower scene, all the girls from the set like
Yeah.
rushed over
To watch him.
to watch him. Yeah.
I read that part of the trivia to Sarah because I was like typing my notes and she was sitting beside me and I started laughing. So I read that to her and she's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because dude is fucking ripped in this movie." Like,
Yeah.
absolutely shredded.
Where's the rest of it?
And I guess like that whole morning routine that he went through, he actually did that on set too. Like,
oh, really?
every morning he would go through that process.
Hold on.
Struggling.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking. Hold on, this way. I'll only read like the last half of it because like the first half he's like doing his routine. He's going through like, oh, I use moisturizer and then like I use rubbing alcohol that has no alcohol in it because like it does all this stuff. And like, yeah. Okay, so this part, like, I think this part like sets up like the whole movie and like his personality. He has there is an idea of a Patrick Bateman, some kind of abstraction, but there is no real me, only an entity, something illusory. And though I can hide my cold gaze and you can shake my hand and feel flesh gripping yours, maybe you can even sense our lifestyles are probably comparable. I simply am not there. And like I think that perfectly describes like how he is during the whole movie.
Yeah. And Ice Nine Kills obviously does their Silver Scream album, and they use that line in one of like in the song for this. I love that. I simply am not there.
Yeah.
So sick.
Yeah. You meet, he's like a lawyer. I think his dad owns the firm.
He's an investment banker, I think.
Or investment banker, yeah. And I think his dad owns the place. So I mean that's why he has a job there and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, his secretary is Jean, and he's not that great to her, but he kind of is. I don't know.
He has some sort of an affection towards her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, yeah, like he's just a chauvinistic asshole towards her.
Yeah, like right off the bat, like she comes in, she's like, Jean, don't wear that outfit again. And he's like, wear heels too.
Yeah. Well, she's like, well, you don't like it? And he goes, he said, you're prettier than that or something.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, you're prettier than that.
So I mean, like, yeah, like he does have like sort of an affection towards her. And like, because you can tell she's super reserved and like timid. And it's almost like he's trying to let her know that she is attractive and like she can come out of that shell.
Yeah.
But just the way he comes about it, he's just a fucking prick.
Oh yeah. And like I said, like we said before, they went to this like restaurant to meet someone, and Evelyn and him is like his girlfriend who's played Reese Witherspoon, and they're going to meet. And like this is the part where like he like walks in, he's like narrating, he's like, I was on the verge of tears because I didn't think we'd have a good seat. And then like I love that he's just sitting there and he's like narrating it, and he's like, I'm pretty sure that Evelyn is having an affair with Timothy Bryce. And she has no idea that I'm having an affair with Courtney, who's married to the prick Lewis Carruthers.
Yeah.
And like Lewis is this like very weird, clearly like closet homosexual. Like he's engaged, but he's definitely, I don't know if he's gay, but he's definitely has feelings for Patrick.
Yeah. Lewis reminds me of like the kid in school that would like buy people's lunches so that they would let him hang out with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he just kind of has that feel like he's there, but he's not really friends with anybody. He doesn't really fit in with them.
Yeah.
But he's just kind of there.
Exactly. Then we get the kind of like first scene where we really see Patrick lose it. And I think like this actually is like him like acting out, like in the dry cleaner scene. What do you think of that scene?
I love that scene.
Yeah.
Because like they're Asian and they're speaking Asian and he can't understand a word that they're saying.
Yeah.
He's like, you can't put bleach on a blah, blah, blah type of sheet.
Yeah.
He's like, no bleachy.
Yeah. And he's like screaming like crazy. He's like, get this fucking out. And then like he says like some line like, I'll cut your fucking head off. Yeah. And then she like reacts, like, oh. But like you don't know if she actually understands what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
And then like some old, I don't know if it's like a client or old fling.
I think it's a fling.
Like walks in and sees him freaking out, and he's like, his hair is like all wild. He's like sweating. He's like, help me. I can't get through to these people. Like, help me out. And he like opens it and he's like, shows her, and it's like blood or something like that. She's like, oh, what happened? He's like, oh, it's cranberry juice. And then like he's like walking out and he's like, I got an appointment in 20 minutes. He's like, fix this for me.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, can we go to dinner? He's like, ah, no, I'm busy with work. And I love that he like, I'm not sure what word it is, but like he suggests, he's like, okay, how about next Saturday?
Yeah.
She's like, yeah. He's like, oh no, I have a meeting or something. And then just fucking walks out.
Yeah.
I love that he just has like porn on in the background when he's talking on the phone with Courtney.
Constantly has porn on. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And she's like, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say she's like addicted to
Yeah,
Xanax or something. I can't remember what
she
it
was
is.
all drugged out all the time. She
Mm-hmm.
hates her life and that she is going to be marrying Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Probably one of my favorite scenes in this movie is the business card scene.
Yeah, it's iconic.
Man, it's so fucking funny. Like, you meet, and this is kind of like one of the parts where you realize that nobody knows who each other is except for like the main group of like Patrick, Timothy, Lewis,
Yeah.
and Van Patten, I think, is the other guy.
Yeah.
They like all know each other, but then like everyone else outside of their clique has each other mixed up. So we meet Paul Allen, who is played by Jared Leto, and immediately he's like up to Patrick. He's like, "Hey, Halberstrom." He's like, "How's so and so going?" And then like he just plays along, like, and everyone else doesn't even say anything, right? Because they're all like focused on being better and like fitting in, and like no one cares who is who.
And we see that in the opening restaurant scene too, because they're like, oh, there's Brooke Merkley, and they're like, that's not Brooke. Brooke's back there.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, nobody knows who anybody is. They only know names, right? Like in the city and in that industry, it's only your name. People only know your name.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And like it also, it makes it kind of ironic too, because Patrick wants to fit in and all these guys just want to fit in, but realistically nobody gives a fuck who you are outside of your clique, like you just said. Like, so I mean, who are you fitting in for? The four guys that you hang out with?
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, Paul Allen hands his card to, I think, Bryce, and then like Patrick like takes out his card. He's like, "Oh, here, call me," or something. And he's like, "Oh, this is made of we say like bone," and like they're like getting like going crazy over their cards. And then like Patrick is like, "Oh, let me see your card, Van Patten." And Van Patten is like, "Oh, wait till you see mine." He pulls it out, is like, "Oh," and then like Patrick's like narrating, and he's like, "Oh, look at the font and the grooves on that," and like, "Oh my god, it even has a watermark."
Yeah.
And he's like just like so pissed that his card isn't the best. And then like someone shows their card, and then Patrick's like, "Let me see Paul Allen's card." And everyone like stops, and like the camera's like slowly moving, and he like pulls out his card, puts it down, and then like to like, "Oh, it's pale nimbus white," or like they're describing the card in like these ridiculous like ways, like that no one else would give a shit about. And then Patrick is like, "I can't believe they prefer Paul Allen's card over mine." And then he's like starts sweating, and Lewis is like, "Oh my god, Patrick, are you okay? You're sweating."
It's literally like a dick measuring contest, but with business cards. It's nuts.
It's fucking hilarious. The next scene where we see, I guess, Patrick's kind of first kill is the homeless person scene. And with this scene, like he goes up to the guy. Like, do you think when he goes down, he's going down that alleyway? Do you think he's thinking of killing someone?
I don't know, because like he almost shows compassion to the homeless guy at the beginning, right?
Yeah,
And then he just like again something just clicks, and
I
he's
think it
like,
was whenever he touches
yeah,
Patrick's, like, because Patrick is like telling him like it's really fucked up. Like he's fucking with him. He's like,
mhm. Why
why
don't you
don't
just
you
get
get
a
a
job?
job? He's like, what's her name? Al? Al, why don't you get a fucking job? And it's like the way he speaks and like his
Yeah,
mouth is like smiley and but he's being really rude and
he's just being a smug fuck.
yeah.
And he's like, I want to help you. Like, why don't you just
Yeah.
get a
And
job?
then Al like touches his like hand and like he just immediately like just clicks.
Yeah, nope.
And then like looks both ways and then opens his case and I was like, oh, thank you're such a kind man. And then like I love Patrick is like almost like, yeah, like you said, smug. He's like smiling and like, you smell like shit, Al. Like, it's fucking great. Oh, and then he stabs Al and fucking stomps on his dog.
Yeah, it's fucked.
Uh, that's the scene in the book that
Mhm.
is about 25 times worse.
Fuck, eh?
Yes, it's bad. It's bad.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's like because another scene later on with the prostitutes, like one of
Mhm.
them touches his watch
Yeah.
and then immediately something happens. We don't see what happens, but
Yeah, he doesn't like to be touched.
no, his things at least.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's one more. This is before he goes to dinner with Paul. There was a line that I like really liked as well. So he says, I have all the characteristics of a human being: blood, flesh, skin, hair, but not a single clear, identifiable emotion except for greed and disgust. Something horrible is happening inside of me, and I don't know why. My nightly bloodlust has overflown into my days. I feel lethal, on the verge of frenzy. I think my mask of sanity is about to slip. And like, I love the lines in this movie,
Yeah.
especially like at the beginning when he's pulling the mask off and he says
Mhm.
like that like Patrick Bateman line.
Mhm.
Like he's pulling like, yeah,
Pulling the mask off. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
He's very much aware of what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it ends up becoming to a point where he just can't control it anymore.
I love the dinner scene with Paul.
Mhm.
I just think it's like great. Like the one line he says in this, like I burst out laughing last night. And like they're at like some Mexican place, and at this point, Paul still thinks that he's a Haberstrom
Yeah.
and is dating some other girl, and like he asks, Patrick is getting him like hot, drunk on margaritas or whatever,
Mhm.
and then like Paul's like, hey, where's what's her face, and then Patrick's like, oh, I think she's hanging out with that girl Evelyn, and then Paul's like, oh, Evelyn, such a nice ass. It's good. The one line that made me laugh out loud, whenever they're like about to order their drinks and stuff, and like the kids there with like the board, and
Mhm.
he's like, "Don't you want to hear the specials?" And then like Patrick just says out of the blue, like, "Not if you want to keep your spleen, I don't." I just fucking love it.
So you think that's one of the instances where he doesn't actually say it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the and he's like obsessed with Trump
Yeah.
as well,
Mm-hmm.
which like is kind of interesting with like everything that's happened, since this movie.
Yeah.
Like the one, like in this scene, he's like looks over, he's like, is that Ivana Trump over there? And like one scene with Evelyn, he's like, I think that's Donald Trump's car.
Yeah. Well, because I mean, like every money mogul probably looked up to Trump back then, right? Like,
Yeah, because he works on Wall Street, right?
well, yeah, and he's like one of the richest people in New York City.
Yeah. And then at this point, like Paul Allen's like very drunk, and Patrick asks him, like, I think Paul is what Patrick wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
He's insanely jealous of him.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole movie, even after he kills him,
Mm-hmm.
like he can't stop obsessing over him. Like when he goes to his apartment.
Well, even impersonates him at one point.
Yeah, like he's at his apartment after he kills him, and he's just like, oh, he has a better view than me. He must pay a lot more or whatever, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's still obsessing over him.
Yeah.
And he asks Paul how he got some account for the bank. And then Paul's just like, oh, I'd tell you, but I'd have to kill you. Yeah, it's great. And then he Paul mentions, actually a few times in this movie, not just Paul, but he mentions like, oh, at least you're not like that loser Patrick Bateman or whatever. And then like Patrick's face just like, okay, man. What were your thoughts on the Paul Allen scene in the apartment?
I love this scene.
Yeah.
Because is it he's talking about Huey Lewis in the news in this one, isn't it? Yeah, that's who he's talking about. So yeah, he mentions like 80s pop music throughout the entire fucking movie.
Yeah.
But he's going on and on and on and on and on about fucking Hip to Be Square and like all the songs off of this album. Yeah. While he's walking around behind Paul. And he's fucking putting on the poncho kind of thing. Rain jacket, yeah. And it comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, it was like a big wow factor.
Yeah.
Because like he kills the homeless man. We've already seen that. But it's like, it's a subtle kill. Like he kind of like gets in close and he just stabs him a few times. But with Paul, he fucking takes an axe to his head and blood just fucking splatters up all over him.
Yeah.
It's just, it was a more brutal kill than the first kill.
Yeah. And he had it all planned out, right? Because like he has the couches all like covered. He has like the paper down, and Paul's like at this point, he's like hammered.
Yeah.
And I love that Paul's just like, he's like, hey, Haverstrom, do you like own a chow or something like that? And then like Patrick, he like has the coat on, and he's just like, you know, he's vibing out, like being very like outgoing, and like he does like the whole like, you know, Huey Lewis in the news, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then like he's behind Paul, and Paul turns on, he's like, Haverstrom, is that a raincoat? It's just like, yeah, Paul, yeah, it is. And then like when he kills him, he's like, hey, Paul, and then like fucking smashes him with the fucking axe.
Yeah. I don't know. Bateman is just, or Christian Bale is just so fucking good in this.
Yeah. Okay, I want to get this question out of the way instead of saving it for the end.
Okay.
What is your thought on, like, what do you think happened in this movie? Like what do you think that he did all this? Do you think some of it is he actually did, none of it he did? Like what are your thoughts?
I think he killed Paul because Paul disappears and the private investigator gets hired, right to find out what happened.
Yeah.
So I think he kills Paul. You know, I've never really thought about it. I just always have in my head that he actually did it all.
Yeah.
But there's also certain scenes too, like there's a woman's head in his fridge at one point. It's like, is there actually a woman's head in his fridge?
Yeah.
Because like that seems out of place, because he doesn't seem like the type of person that would have a head in his fridge.
No.
You know what I mean? Like he's so clean and prim and proper and shit. Like I feel like he would find that just disgusting. But as for like all the killings, I don't see how he doesn't do it.
Right.
What do you think though? Because you obviously have different thoughts.
So I think he didn't do any of it.
Any of it?
Yes.
You think this is all
Except
just
maybe I think he did kill the homeless person
okay?
just because like that was kind of like him testing out the waters, I think. Because it's in the alleyway, it's a homeless person, like
Mm-hmm.
no one in New York, and I think this movie takes place in like 89 or 87 or something like that.
Yeah.
Gives a shit about homeless people.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else, I don't think he actually did.
So what happens to Paul Allen?
So with Paul Allen, it's interesting because with the ending, um, so he kills Paul Allen. He goes to his apartment, gathers up some belongings, leaves like a fake message saying,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in London, whatever. And then like that's it. He goes back to his apartment with some hooker, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then and then we have Kimball who's trying to figure out like, what's going on. This does happen, people just up and leave.
Mm-hmm.
But then at the end of the movie, after Patrick like has his crazy frenzy night, he goes, he calls his lawyer, says like, I did everything, I killed Paul Allen. And then the next day he goes to Paul Allen's apartment, or what he thinks is Paul Allen's apartment. It's being resold.
Mm-hmm.
And the lady's like, no, this isn't, Paul Allen didn't live here.
Mm-hmm.
And then with the lawyer he's talking to, the lawyer doesn't know who the fuck Patrick Bateman is. He thinks he's someone else.
Mm-hmm.
But Patrick says, like, no, listen to me. I killed Paul Allen. And then the lawyer's like, that's impossible. I had dinner with Paul Allen in London 2 days ago.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But then, like, the thing that kind of like throws it all off is like, no one outside the group knows who people are. So maybe the lawyer is actually thinking of someone else's Paul Allen, maybe.
Or do you
Because even with the end scene when he's going nuts, killing everyone, like we'll go back and talk about certain scenes if we want to, but
mm-hmm.
that scene where like he finally like, loses his mind. He's at the ATM. It's fucking hilarious. He like is like losing his mind. The ATM like starts talking to him, says like, "Feed me a stray cat." Fucking hilarious. Picks up a kitten that just happens to be there, tries to shove it in the ATM. And then like an old lady is like, what the fuck? Like, and then he shoots her.
Yeah.
He's going nuts, running around. He goes to, I think, either his Paul Allen's apartment or his work. He shoots the security guard. He's running around, goes like through the like spinning door,
Mm-hmm.
spins all the way around, shoots the janitor, runs out. And then the cops are chasing him in like the cop car scene. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is what gives it away because like the cops are there. He has this little pistol and like he's shooting the cop, shoots one cop, and then like the cars just blow up.
That's true.
And then he like kind of looks at the pistol like, what the fuck? And then runs to his work and like calls his lawyer to
Mm-hmm.
testify.
Yeah, that is true. Like that whole end scene, like I just figured it was him like losing his mind. Like maybe not necessarily that he did all that shit.
Yeah.
But like the stuff with the women and the Paul Allen, I had just had in my mind that he had done it.
Yeah.
But it all makes sense. Yeah. If the lawyer said that he just had dinner with Paul Allen in London. Yeah. And like, so did Bateman know that he was going to be in London?
Maybe.
So he went through and like went through the motions of killing this guy and like packing a bag for London and making like a cover up to the murder.
Yeah.
like giving giving Paul Allen like a destination to be at.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So do you think Bateman even runs with this crowd? Like, do you think he's actually in with any of these people?
I think like his like three main people,
That's it.
like Van Patten, Bryce, and the other guy,
Mm-hmm.
Craig. I think he is like in with them.
So you think all that's real, just not like
Yeah.
the psychoticism part?
Outside of his like the first prostitute night, whenever he picks up
Christy and Sabrina.
yeah, Christine and Sabrina. I think that first night like actually happened.
Yeah. But then Christy sees it, like he picks her up later on and she's like terrified to be with him.
Yeah. See, I don't know. See, that's what this movie, like, it's so, there's probably no right or wrong answer, to be honest.
Yeah. And he kills her with the most epic chainsaw kill ever.
Yeah. Like, I think maybe he does pick her up and like he's with, like, it seems like a girl he's known for a long time, right? So I don't think the stuff after that is like actually happened.
Actually, that first night with Christy and Sabrina, whenever they're leaving, they look like they've been beaten up, like they're bloody and shit.
Oh yeah, something definitely did happen.
So maybe that's why Christy's afraid of him later on in the movie.
Yeah, because she says I had to go to surgery or had to go to emergency because of you.
Mm-hmm.
And then he writes her a check, and then yeah. But yeah.
And like I had a question too, because he invites Jean to come over to his house. Well, he tries to get her to go out to like a fancy restaurant. He tells her to pick whatever restaurant she wants, and she picks Dorsia, which is like the hardest restaurant to get into.
I love that. Whenever he calls and he's like on the phone, he's like, "Hey Dorsia, yeah, I'd like to make a reservation for 2 at 8:30 tonight. Oh, sorry, we're all booked. Oh, awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
No, sir, we're booked. Okay, see you then."
Yeah. And she's like, "You didn't leave a name." Oh, they know me.
Yeah.
But so anyways, they end up going to his house or to his apartment, and he goes behind her with a nail gun, like he's going to shoot her in the back of the head. But then he stops. Like he kind of, like I know that there was the phone call from Evelyn and whatnot, which kind of outs him that he's in a solid relationship, or what Jean thinks is a solid relationship. But like he didn't end up killing her. He gets like I don't know what the word is.
What I think it is, I think Jean is just different than the girls and people that are around him, maybe. Like, because she's actually interested in like him, like I don't think she wants to date him or anything like that, but like she's just different than all the other girls that he's with, right? Like
she doesn't care about the money that he has.
And like he asks, like he's like walking around and like he like is like touching the knives, and he asks her like, "What, like, are you happy with your life? Like, what do you want to do?" And she says like, "Oh, I might go back to school." She's like, "I really want to travel." And like, I don't know, I think like all of that stuff just kind of changed his perspective on things or something. I don't know.
It's almost like he's envious of her, because he has a line at one point in the movie too, and it was actually in this scene, and he said, "No, I'm on a diet," like so he can't eat like a specific thing. She's like, "Diet? Like what do you need a diet for?" kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, you can always be better or do better," or something like that. So I'm wondering, like he's almost like envious of her because she is just perfectly content with her life, and she doesn't need to strive to that next level. She's just happy with where she's at right now.
Yeah. And I think I love the line too. He's like, did you know that Ted Bundy owned a Shih Tzu or something like that? And she's just like, "Who's Ted Bundy?"
Yeah.
I really do like the very last like exchange between them, like after Evelyn like leaves the message, and you can see that Patrick is like he's getting worked up, like he's sweating. He just says like, "I think you should leave." And then she's like, "Oh, And he's like, you don't want to get hurt, do you? And she's like, no, I guess not. But like, they're talking about two different things, right?
Yeah.
Like she thinks like, oh, it's gonna lead to something, we're gonna have sex, and then she's
Mhm.
gonna get hurt by him. But no, he's like talking like, if you don't leave, I'm gonna do something bad to you.
Like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, like physically hurt you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
she even says like, no, I don't want to get bruised. And it's just like
yeah,
it's a cool play on words, right? Because
yeah,
she's thinking like a bruised heart, and he's thinking of like, yeah,
yeah,
you're gonna get fucked up.
yeah. Um, what do you think of Kimball's character? Like, what's your take on him in this movie?
I don't think he knows what to think of Bateman.
Yeah,
And I know that the director said to him, like, I want you to take this character in three different directions. Like,
yeah, they filmed three different scenes
yeah.
for one of the interviews that he had with Patrick. I forget which one,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, like he filmed one where like he didn't know he was the killer, where he knew he was the killer, and then one where he like
He
was
was
kind
kind
of
of on
like,
the fence.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. Which I thought was an interesting take, because every time you meet Kimball, you think like, because every time, like, Patrick is so good with words with everybody else, but then whenever he's talking with Kimball, like he's almost like he has anxiety whenever he's talking to him.
yeah.
Like he's tripping over his words, he gets that sweat again. And he just doesn't know what to say. And
Mhm.
there's even like in the, I think it's their last meeting, Kimball pulls out the new Huey Lewis and the News CD.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, I just picked it up on my way here. And
And it's like the day after that he killed Paul Allen.
yeah. And Bateman's like, oh no, like I don't really like them. And he said, what did he say? I don't like singers.
No, yeah, I don't like singers. And then he's like, oh, he's like, you don't like music? He's
Yeah.
like,
It's a little
yeah, I
too
like
black for
music.
me.
Yeah, too black for me. God.
um, but I mean, I like Willem Dafoe in pretty much anything that he's in.
Yeah.
And I think that this was a very interesting character to have, with the three different perspectives on how he feels about Bateman.
Yeah.
I thought that was neat, but he's a terrible private investigator.
I didn't, yeah, like from what I like, even the first interview, like Patrick was asking a lot of questions
Mm-hmm.
about the murder. He kept saying, oh, there's no murder yet. He's just been missing for like 24 hours.
Yeah.
And then like this, when he asks Patrick to lunch at the end of the first interview, he's like, okay, will you get your facts together? Try to remember where you were that night.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's not too worried about it. But then like when they go to lunch, like Patrick doesn't have his story at all of where he was.
Yeah.
I mean, Kimball has to be the one that tells him like, oh yeah, you were at dinner with Halberstrom or one of the guys, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think, yeah, I don't really understand the whole like Kimball side of the story, I guess.
Do you think Kimball's a made up character in Bateman's head to
Mm,
like make it seem more legit?
maybe.
Because like, I mean, he if we're going by your theory, he envisioned the cops and like that whole chase scene, and
Well, okay.
the cop car is blowing up.
Right.
So do you think that this is kind of just like a manifestation in his mind to make, because like he knows that obviously if this guy goes missing, people are going to start looking for him.
Yeah, actually, this if he didn't actually kill Paul Allen, then
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing to investigate, I guess.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just going off what your theory was,
I don't know, like what do you
which I'm
like?
starting to agree with.
um Real quickly, I want to talk about the first scene with what were the prostitutes' names? Christy
Christine,
and
Sabrina.
Sabrina. Um One of them is definitely like a hooker, like on the street. The other one I think is like maybe he calls like a place to hire
An escort.
escort. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, blonde. And then she gets there. He's like, how much of a blonde are you? More of a dirty blonde. And like just the way that like he's like telling them what to do, like
Well,
it's so creepy. Like
yeah.
Christy's like in the bath.
Yeah, that's where I was going.
just like out of the blue, he's like,
Want you to wash your vagina.
yeah, wash your vagina. And then she's like, okay. And then she like starts doing it. And he's like, no, on your knees, do it from the back.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, then the like, she has like Chardonnay and, the second part, like he says, like, I don't want you to get drunk, but that is a very expensive bottle of Chardonnay that you're not drinking.
Yeah.
It's like, what a dick.
Yeah.
But I love that, like, he like has Sabrina like dancing, and then like and then like she's like, okay, Christy, get on the bed and point your ass at Sabrina. And then she's like, okay, Sabrina, look at Christy's asshole. And then he like says something like, that asshole ain't gonna eat itself or something.
Don't just look at it, eat it.
Yeah. And then like he's like having sex with them, and he's like fucking like posing and like looking at himself, like
flexing in the mirror.
Dude. Oh man. Yeah, and then like they're sleeping, and then like they kind of wake up, and one of them touches his watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's like immediately like he gets up and they start like getting leave, and then he like opens the drawer and there's like this like score like thing, and that's all these like tools, and he like grabs like a fucking coat hanger, and then she's like, oh, can we leave now? And he's like, we're not done yet.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't show what happens, but like they leave. Sabrina has like a bloody nose and she's like all like fucked up, and then like Chrissy just like walks out. So like I don't know what he did, but it must have been something fucked up with that coat hanger. Yeah.
With stuff like
I'll go ahead.
Without giving it away, but like with stuff like this scene, let's just say, do they go into more detail in the book? Like, do we find out what happens with Christy and Sabrina?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And like in the movie, after one of the club scenes, he meets like a blonde girl, and then like the next day he has like the hair.
Yeah, he does that in the movie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
oh,
like that.
Yeah.
So like it like talks about the kill with that girl, and like it's fucked up.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess the one scene that I wanted to talk about before we wrap it up is that one of the like the most famous scenes in this movie is definitely, we touch on a little bit, but the chainsaw scene. He's with the two girls, and like he's with the one girl like going down on her, and then like you see like some blood like forming, and Christy is trying to like slowly get away. And then like the girl under the bed just starts screaming, and then Patrick just like looks up, and like he has like blood all over his face, and she starts running away. She finds the dead bodies, and then he like grabs her foot and like tries like biting her foot off or something. And then she just like kicks him, and he's like, not in the fucking face. And then like she starts running away, and like I think this is another reason why I don't think like this actually happened, because she's like banging like crazy on all the doors, screaming like crazy, like no one is like to be seen.
And then he fires up a fucking chainsaw in a condo building.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? And like it's not even his apartment. So it's like, where'd you get this?
That is a thought that played through my mind during this scene. I'm like, how is nobody hearing this?
Yeah.
So yeah, your theory definitely rings true.
And like the odds, it's a sick kill. Like sick scene. Like he's running fucking naked with it. And like she's running down the stairs, and he's like at the top, like his face, like it just looks crazy. And he's like laughing, is holding the chainsaw over, then like drops it and like hits her. And like the chances of that happening are pretty slim, to be honest. But he just like does it, and he's just like, ha!
He's covered in the blood still.
Yeah. Fucking great.
That's a great scene.
Yeah. I love the scene with Evelyn whenever he like breaks up with her, like in public. I love that like I'm gonna start using this like when I like want to leave a party. Like every time he gets uncomfortable or something, he's just like, "Sorry, I have to return some videotapes."
Yeah.
uh, yeah. Anything else? We should talk about like the last scene. Like, what were your thoughts on the last scene? Like when he talks to his lawyer and all that. Like everything is just like kind of like normal in his group. But I told you what I thought. Like, what did you think of that scene?
I don't really know what to think anymore. Like the way that I saw it before was just that the lawyer was kind of playing it off like, oh no, you didn't, Patrick. Like there's no way that you could have done that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But now that you've kind of put this in my head that none of it actually happened,
Mm-hmm.
it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because like if somebody's confessing to all these killings, like, and he confesses to a lot of killings, it's not just the one.
Yeah.
You would think that somebody would throw up a red flag,
Mm-hmm.
right? And like,
Because he does say in the conversation, because the whole time, like he doesn't think this is Patrick Bateman. He thinks
mhm,
it's someone I forget who. A guy named Davis.
mhm.
And then Patrick is telling him all this, and he's like, "Oh, that's very funny, Davis. Like, if this was Bryce or Van Pat, excuse me, I would believe you. Like, yeah, okay, definitely. But like, no, you, Davis, like, come on, man, it's a funny joke."
So like they end all together. Where are they in the end scene?
They're like at some like little like bar or something like in their office, I think, because there's all these like rich people like around
Mm,
having drinks. They're watching a TV with
Ronald
like
Reagan.
Ronald Reagan on it, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I agree with you that none of it actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
That it's all just been a manifestation in his mind of things that he wants to do
Yeah,
to these people.
yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's people like only people that he thinks are bad or um not maybe not necessarily well, not necessarily bad, but like a certain type of person. And maybe that's why he
Yeah.
changes his mind with Jean and doesn't end up killing her.
Um, what happens in the scene where he gets pissed at Lewis and goes into the bathroom and is like, Lewis is taking a piss and he just like starts like grabbing his neck like he's gonna strangle him.
Yeah.
What did Lewis do to trigger that?
It was a business card.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's like,
Or like people that he thinks are better than him,
yeah,
but he also kills the homeless guy.
yeah,
But maybe the homeless guy was an actual killing, and like you said, he was just testing the waters to see if he could actually do it. And
yeah,
then every thought after that was people that he viewed as better than him.
yeah,
Maybe he wants to be the best person that's there, and if he kills everybody off, then he's automatically going to be by default.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's the card. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I'm
oh
gonna
yeah.
watch I'm gonna watch this movie with a very different frame of mind the next time I watch it, though.
Okay. Nice. And then there's like the ending monologue too, which see if I can find it real quick.
Well, he does mention something about if the crimes aren't real in that closing monologue.
Oh yeah, okay. So he says there are no more barriers to cross. All I have in common with the uncontrollable and the insane, the vicious and the evil, all the mayhem I have caused, my utter indifference toward it, I have now surpassed. My pain is constant and sharp, and I do not hope for a better world for anyone. In fact, I want my pain to be inflicted on others. I want no one to escape, but even after admitting this, there is no catharsis. My punishment continues to elude me, and I gain no deeper knowledge of myself. No new knowledge can be extracted from my telling. This confession has meant nothing.
So whether the confession means nothing because nobody believes him or because the stuff didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, well, he wants to be punished for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not getting that punishment. So whether or not he confessed to killings that didn't actually happen, or whether he did actually do these killings and he confessed to it, nobody believes it. So he's not really getting what he wants in the end, regardless.
No. Or maybe like him thinking about doing all the things that he did in the movie. And then at the end of him thinking like back, like, okay, this didn't help me with anything. Like I'm still feeling all this pain and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was all meant nothing.
Yeah. American Psycho is a humorous and blood-curdling psychological thriller. It is a social commentary on the sexual insecurity of men, their shallowness, their obsession with materialism to conceal their apathy. The central character, Patrick Bateman, flushes out his repressed anger born out of corporate culture by killing people that seems more like a hobby than a necessity. Oh, did you know that they originally wanted Leonardo DiCaprio to take the role too?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Did Patrick really kill anyone? Was it just his imagination, a fantasy of how he wanted to deal with his corporate frustration? Was Paul Allen really dead? We've tried to look at all the possibilities and decipher it for you and come up with theories that make rational sense of the psychological thriller. Then, well, they break down certain scenes. So the ATM, Patrick Bateman visits the ATM to withdraw money, but the ATM pops up a message, feed me the stray cat. Bateman doesn't hesitate to aim at the kitten, but before he could shoot and feed it inside the ATM, a grossed out woman interrupts him. That old woman becomes Bateman's first victim as a night. Okay, that doesn't explain anything. The dead bodies are no more there in the storage compartment of the flat. A realtor is initially shocked to see Bateman and explains that nobody named Paul Allen actually lived there. Oh my God, it's not giving me anything. It was all fantasy and Bateman made up everything that reflects the psychosis. Bateman actually killed everyone except for Paul Allen, or Bateman actually killed everyone and Harold mistook Paul Allen for someone else. So that's kind of what you said. So they're saying that they believe Bateman is actually a serial killer and he did kill Paul Allen.
I don't get that because like the whole apartment throws me off.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that the lawyer said he was with Paul Allen, unless he is mistaken for who Paul Allen actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I feel like it's never actually been told of what the true meaning is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just one of those movies that everybody's going to have their own thoughts on.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah.
All right. Anything else that you wanted to bring up or talk about that we missed?
I don't think so.
Cool. We could honestly talk about this movie for like 3 hours, so we should probably move on while we can.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the way the imaginary blood splatters.
All right. I already know what your thoughts and reviews are on it, but lay it on us. Let's hear what you got to say.
All right. So for story, I gave a 10 out of 10. I said a wonderfully made book to film adaptation, a very chilling, dark comedy about the typical life of a rich white man on Wall Street who just wants to fit in and who may also be going crazy. The movie really makes you think what has happened, if what is happening is actually real or just in his head. You pick up on different things with every watch. Quality, I gave it 10 out of 10. No surprise there. I thought it was a beautifully shot and scored movie, which is equal parts artistic and disturbing. I mean, the performance from Bale is just like unbelievable. I like so happy that he chose to do this role because I don't know where he would be in his movie career. And like honestly, like apart from this movie, I think he's one of the best actors out there. He's one of my favorite actors. Like he is great. I thought like the other actors in the movie did a good job as well. Like they didn't have like much to do. They were just like, I don't know, they played their character well. Like it was good.
Yeah.
So yeah. Double tens.
Double tens. All right. For my story, I gave it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I said I love the mix of comedy and just all-out psychoticism of Bateman in this movie. It's a great satirical look at the world of Wall Street and all the materialism that comes from it. I did find it gets a little drawn out towards the end. Like there's like a slight maybe 20-minute window where it just kind of gets drawn out a little bit. But the movie as a whole keeps you pretty well engaged. And I mentioned I didn't get a chance to read the book like I wanted to, but I read that the dialogue is often like word for word from the novel. Like a lot of the dialogue.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. And quality, I gave it a 9 out of 10 as well. I said the acting, script, score, and gore are all top notch. Christian Bale was perfect for this role, and from what I read, he had to fight his ass off to get it, and it definitely paid off for him and for the movie. I can't picture anyone else playing him. I loved the 80s pop soundtrack, and I found it super ironic that someone as sadistic as Patrick could be so in love with like that upbeat poppy music from the 80s.
Yeah, I actually read that most of the budget to the movie went to buying the rights to those songs.
Yeah. And I said I love the variety of kills in the movie as well. Like we get gunshots, we get a fucking chainsaw drop down a staircase, and we get the stabbing and just like a whole bunch of different stuff.
Sorry to cut you off, but like the end, when he confesses to the lawyer, some of like, and then Gene finds his like little notepad. Some of the stuff in that he says and in the notepad are stuff that happens in the book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. But anyways, yeah, so double nines for me.
Nice.
Another thing I read too, with all the different brand names that are in it, there was so many different stipulations from certain ones.
Yeah.
Like Rolex wouldn't let them use Rolex watches in the movie. There was another brand that they would allow him to wear it, but he couldn't do it. He couldn't. It couldn't be a scene where there was a kill.
Yeah.
And there was another one that was similar to that too, which I thought was.
Yeah, same with the book. I'm pretty sure the book was banned in a few countries. And then like after it came out, excuse me, the companies that agreed like to be put in the book, they didn't realize what kind of book it was going to be.
Yeah.
And after it was released, they were not happy, obviously.
Yeah.
So I know Brett Easton Ellis, I think is his name. He got in a lot of shit after the book was released, but
it paid off.
Yeah.
All right, you guys know our scores. Let's head on over to Rotten Tomatoes and see what Dave scored it. The critics' consensus: if it falls short of the deadly satire of Bret Easton Ellis's novel, American Psycho still finds its own blend of horror and humor, thanks in part to a fittingly creepy performance by Christian Bale. So based off that, what do you think the critics scored it?
I mean, I'll probably hate it either way. So I'll go with an 83.
You're too high, significantly too high.
Yeah, I know.
Ironically, the critic score is a 69%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
On 150 reviews and an average score of 6.3 out of 10. The audience score is an 85%.
Nice.
on
Okay.
250,000 ratings and an average score of 4 out of 5 or an 8 out of 10,
Nice.
which is much better.
Yes. Agreed.
Kind of surprised that it's not a high critic score.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, maybe these critics are like Wall Street people, so maybe they're not happy with how they're being portrayed in the film.
Yeah. I mean, 2000, you had Y2K. Everyone was prepping for the end of the world, you know?
That's right. They had other things to worry about back then.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like the year 2000, like in movies, like, can you even name another movie that was released in 2000?
In the year 2000,
Like, it feels like other like 99 and like 2001, like you remember movies, like, I don't know.
that's true. Let's see.
But while you're looking that up, Letterboxd has a 3.9 out of 5. So pretty similar to the average in IMDb. I give it a 5 out of 5 on Letterboxd, obviously. Marc gave it a 4.5. Very respectable. I like it. A Nightmare Pod, we give it a 3 out of 5. Jensen, we're just going to skip his score.
Oh God, what
no,
did he
kidding,
give it?
2.5.
What the fuck?
John from Porcelain Peak gave it a 4. Slosh and Captain gave it a 3 out of 5. And Screaming Cinema gave it a 5 out of 5.
Nice. The year 2000 was a good year for movies, man.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. We had The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Haven't seen it.
We had What Lies Beneath with Harrison Ford and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Sorry, real quick. Did you know that Alex Garland wrote The Beach?
Yes, I did know that actually. Yeah. Pretty cool. One of your favorite movies, The Cell, came out in 2000.
Not one of my favorites, but I
mean, Snatch came out in 2000.
That's a good one. Really, 2000?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Road Trip.
Okay. Yeah.
The Perfect Storm.
I haven't seen that in a long time.
Great movie though. Castaway.
Damn. Really?
Almost Famous. Scary Movie.
That came out in 2000.
Yeah.
I was 10 years old when that came out.
Yeah. I remember renting that, like when you could still like on your satellite dish, like you could rent a pay-per-view movie.
That's crazy. 2000. I would never have guessed that, honestly.
Yeah. Unbreakable, Little Nicky, Gone in 60 Seconds, Pitch Black, Hollow Man.
Fuck, we're old, man. Holy shit.
Final Destination was 2000.
Really?
Yeah. Battle Royale was 2000. Remember the Titans.
Jesus. Okay. Okay.
Dude, Where's My Car? Aaron Brockovich, Me, Myself, and Irene.
Wow.
Ginger Snaps. Like, holy fuck, man. The list just goes on and on and on. X-Men.
Didn't know that all came out in 2000.
Yeah, so we take that back. 2000 was a great year for movies.
Wow. All right.
All right, you ready for the scare section?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what did you give for a scare rating?
For scare rating, I gave it a 2 out of 10. Not so much a horror to me, and this movie is more of like a dark comedy. Some of the kills were cool, a lot of gore and blood. Patrick, like when he is in those crazy scenes, he's pretty scary. Actually, I'll jump up to a 3 out of 10, I think. Just for like that chainsaw scene and like just the way he turns, like it's crazy. Scary scene. This was kind of hard to pick because there really isn't like any like scary scene. I said the scene with the hookers and like the clothes hanger.
Okay.
So it just like has you thinking like, what did he do like to send her to the emergency after that?
Mm-hmm.
And like she has to get surgery. Like,
yeah,
ish, I don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
And then would I survive? I said, if I was in that final scene, probably not. He's just so unhinged in that final scene that literally anyone could die, except for like the one guard he doesn't kill. He just like goes up and he thinks he's gonna kill him, but he just pulls out a pen and signs. Yeah. What was you?
My scare rating, I gave it a 3 out of 10.
Okay.
I said Bateman isn't as creepy as a lot of serial killers we've seen, but his switch flips from Wall Street protege to a serial killing Rico Suave so quickly that you never know what he's going to do next. I said the kills are very brutal and very intimate as well. The scariest scene, I said I would have to say when he kills the dog.
Okay.
I know we don't really see it happening, but we know what happens, obviously, and it just goes to show like how much further he's slipped into like full-blown psycho.
Yeah.
Plus, like knowing that something more happens in the book with that scene, like I don't know exactly what happens, but I know that it's a lot worse. And I know that she had to make some, like Mary Heron. Yeah. She had to like make some cuts to drop the rating down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if this movie actually had more of a brutal scene for that scene.
Possibly. Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, so I'm gonna go with that. Plus, nobody likes to see animals getting killed.
No.
Would I survive? I said, as I was thinking about this one, I said yes, because he only kills women and people that piss him off. But towards the end, he really is just killing anybody. So if I catch him on a bad day, there's a damn good chance I'm catching a chainsaw with my spinal cord.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a rich socialite either. Like I'm not going to be in with his friends or anything like that. So I could be fucked. All right.
Very nice.
It's time.
Or
let me stretch. I've been sitting in this chair for a while. It's time for Loomis's Villain Evaluation.
I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up, because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
This is part 2, as I've mentioned a few times this episode. So we are going to give each other scores for Patrick and average them out and see how he does up against Henry from Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer.
Yeah.
We said last week that we think this is going to be a lot closer than we probably initially anticipated. After doing my scores, I'm not too sure how it's going to do.
I think agree, but hopefully we're on the same side.
Yeah, I think someone is going to have an edge.
Yeah.
Anyways, give me your scores.
All right. I just want to say this is all on the preface that he actually did these murders.
Yes, mine as well. Sorry, just give me 1 sec before you do. I forgot to put my scores in the chart here.
Motherfucker.
I just have my write-ups.
It's going to make another change to another score.
No, you're not allowed. You're not allowed.
Why?
I am ready.
All right. So for my strength, I give him a 20 out of 30.
Okay.
I said any person that can do 1,000 ab crunches must have some sort of strength. He's always working out and staying in shape. Also, we didn't mention, how much did you love him working out to Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Fucking loved it, man.
Fucking great.
So amazing.
Yeah. As for his kills, he doesn't really show like how he'd be like hand to hand in a fight. Like as with Henry, like he's very unsuspecting. So like you don't really see his strength in like when he's like killing someone, but like the dude works out. So like he's definitely strong.
Yeah.
Dexterity, I give him an 18 out of 30. I think I described this right, but I mean, who cares? I said he uses his appearance and personality to really blend in and seem non-threatening. the way he talks to people, like very calm, like makes them feel safe with him. So I feel like that's kind of way like it's not like agility, but like I don't know, he just uses that suave to like kind of like slide into people. I don't know, man.
Okay.
I don't know if you're feeling what I'm throwing, but
I consider that charisma, but
okay.
you do you, man.
Ugh.
Fuck it, leave it. Your score is very close to mine for dexterity. I'll say that.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then my description just sucks. Okay.
Yeah.
Constitution, I gave a 16 out of 30.
Okay.
I said Patrick is in shape, no doubt about that. He doesn't seem to be tired when he's chasing like the prostitute. But he is sweating profusely and out of breath at the end. But I don't know if that's like just from him being tired or coked out of his mind. Wisdom, I gave him a 16 out of 30. I said, like previously stated, he uses his good looks and personality to seem non-threatening. He knows what and how to kill people from his previous kills. Like his apartment is set up perfectly. Like he has like everything like just like set up precise of like what he needs.
He's like Dwight Schrute.
Yeah.
He's got weapons all over his house.
I gave his intelligence a 13 out of 30. I said, yes, he's like a smart banker guy, but I mean, it's his dad's business. So how smart is he really? And like, I find you don't really see too much of his intelligence. Like their conversations with the group, it's like, you don't learn anything. They're just talking shit about people the whole time. Like they have nothing smart to say. And like at the end, whenever Ronald Reagan is like talking and, Bryce asks him like Bateman, what do you think about all this? And Bateman just like says like whatever. Like he has no input on anything. So
yeah.
11 to 30.
Okay.
And then charisma, I did have this very high, but I changed it down to 22 out of 30.
Okay.
And like I did have it at a 28, but I got thinking that like his charisma, whenever he's like killing people or in like that zone, it's like high. But whenever he's like sitting with his friends, he's very quiet and doesn't say much. He's just like observing everyone and everything around him. He doesn't have much to say to the conversation. So like that's why I brought it down a bit.
Okay.
So yeah, 22 out of 30.
All right.
What about you?
My strength, I gave him a 22. I said, dude is jacked. He's still just a regular human male with no supernatural strength, but this guy is like fucking peak alpha male.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, he does 1,000 crunches a day, and like, yeah, dude looks insane. Dexterity or agility, I gave him a 16. I said, we see him jump over beds a lot and run down hallways, but we don't really see him exposing any major agility skill. So I just kind of put him like middle of the pack. Like we know he obviously has some sort of agility, like with the way that he is, but we don't see like a big showing of it. Constitution or endurance, I give him a 20. Okay. I said we can assume that his insane workout regime includes some sort of cardio, and we also see him have sex for a very long time with 2 women without missing a pump.
Yeah.
So I mean, that takes some endurance. Intelligence, I gave him a 28.
Wow. Okay, we were way different.
Yeah, we were. I said, dude is a Wall Street worker and a Harvard graduate. He can't be dumb.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I went too low.
Maybe he just has social anxiety and he doesn't feel like talking to the guys that he's with. Yeah. I don't know. Wisdom, I gave him an 18. I said he kills Paul and makes it look like he fled to another country and then used his name later on when having sex with the 2 escorts. Like he just kind of set up this whole elaborate scheme sort of thing. He does get a little messy towards the end of the movie with his kills and trips up quite a bit when talking to Willem Dafoe's character about Paul. So that's where I kind of dropped it off a little bit. And charisma, I gave him a 28, like you had mentioned.
Yeah.
I said Bateman uses every trick in the book to befriend his male counterparts as well as get any woman he wants in his bed on more than one occasion. Like he even gets Christy to come back. Like he offers her a big chunk of money, but still, like he's able to persuade her into coming back to his apartment. We were wrong. This matchup is very one-sided.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. For strength, Patrick beats Henry 21-18. Wait. Oh, I did wrong math.
Oh my God.
My math sucked. Hold on. I didn't even catch that. I was like, there's no way it's that close. For strength, Patrick beat Henry 21-13.
Okay.
Dexterity, Patrick wins 17-10.5. For constitution, Patrick wins 18-14. For intelligence, Patrick wins 20.5-10. For wisdom, Henry wins 18-17.
Oh shit, that was a close one.
That was a close one. And charisma, Patrick wins 25-11.5.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was a 5-1 stomping of Henry.
I think, we had a good time with Henry. We gave him some props. We're like, okay, this guy might have a chance. But definitely spoke too soon.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a stomping.
Yeah.
But it was good. We had fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed this one. I liked that it wasn't like anybody fucking crazy. It was just two dudes duking it out. It was a
classic
real tale of the tape.
Did you pick a movie?
No, I didn't.
I forgot to ask you.
I even thought about it today too. I was like, oh yeah, I need to pick a movie. Let's see what we can do here.
Well, are we doing a face-off next month?
Yeah, are we not?
Because we could do that one movie that we wanted to do in August. If you wanted.
What's that one?
Or if you wanted to pick a movie.
What's that one?
It's on your shelf right behind you. Unless you moved it.
The Sadness?
No, it's yellow. You did move it.
A yellow movie on my shelf.
It's in a very nice case. Never mind. Just think of a movie to.
What movie are you talking about? Where did I move it to?
It's in a bigger movie case than usual.
A bigger
I may have bought it for you.
And it's yellow?
Yeah.
What movie did you buy me?
Okay, I'll just grab mine. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh, I know what you want. I know what you meant. I got it. I knew what you. Right as soon as you got up, I was like, fuck, I know what he's talking about. Yeah. It is still there. Uh-oh, what did I just do? It is still there. It's just behind my pinhead NECA sculpture statue figure.
I mean, we can do that, or if you want to wait, leave the listeners in suspense, you can pick another movie and we can save that one for a bit later.
I don't know if I'm feeling that one.
All right.
That's a big commitment.
It is. I guess we just spoiled what we're planning to do. So yeah, we're gonna be doing Midsummer Director's Cut
Yeah.
soon. It was our very first episode. So
Oh, I have one.
all right.
Let's watch Random Acts of Violence.
Okay. I'm down with that. Ghost.
Holy shit. The ghost didn't like my suggestion. Maybe is it my phone that does it?
Something on your end.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Go over there. You cool with that? Random Acts of Violence?
Yeah, I'm down. Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, cool. I promise I'll be more prepared next time. All right. Anyways, yeah. So next week, we're going to talk about Random Acts of Violence. Next month is going to be very weird because Brooke, you're gone away for 2 weeks. So we're going to be doing double recordings each week just to kind of fill out the whole month. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be odd. So our episodes might feel like they're a little bit different, but we're going to try and make them as natural as possible.
Yeah.
But so starting off the month of August, I can't believe I'm saying that. August, we're almost through summer. We're going to talk about Random Acts of Violence.
Yeah, I'm excited.
A
couple years since I watched it.
Yeah. It's got our dude Jay Baruchel in it.
Yeah. And Wade McNeil.
Yes. Yeah.
No one probably knows who that is off the top of his name, but
from Alexis on Fire.
Yeah.
Fuckers.
And, the Gallows. The Gallows? No.
I don't know. I don't know if it is.
Anyways.
But yeah, anyways, I had a great time with this Face Off. I've already mentioned that. Really enjoyed both movies. You opened my eyes a little bit more with Henry. You blew my mind a little bit with American Psycho.
Well, I am here, man.
But yeah. Anyways,
cool.
Thank you guys for listening. If you want to catch us on social media, you can find us at Podcast on Elm Street on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. If you click the link in our bio on Instagram, you'll find links to our TeePublic account where we have our merch. There's also links to our Patreon account if you wish to support the podcast that way. There's also links to both of our individual Letterboxd accounts, which you saw at the beginning of this episode if you're watching this episode, not listening to it. And there's a link to our Discord server and anywhere that you can listen to us.
Yes.
So.
All right.
Yes.
Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you next week.
See you later.